You. Everything I'm about to say. Don't even think about running. Wall Street was never just about the stock market. Every relationship you have with another human being has already been trading since the beginning. Some people arbitrage your emotions. They find the gap between what you feel and what you're willing to say, and they profit from that gap every single time. Some people use you as an emotional tax haven. Warm, quiet, no questions asked, offshore, untraceable, convenient. Some relationships call themselves love, but the actual structure is low cost, high return. So I have to ask you something. Have you been treating me like a fixed low-rate currency? Your emotions, I absorb. Your volatility, I carry. Your silence, I translate. Your disappearance, I digest. And you think all of that is just standard? No premium, no acknowledgement, no cost to you at all? So what you're saying is, you're the US dollar, and I'm the Vietnamese dong, or maybe the rupee. You never said it out loud, but your behavior has been broadcasting it the entire time. The exchange rate between us, you decided that, unilaterally, without my signature. I just want to know, who gave you that authority? Here's what's actually funny. Some people's own lives are on the verge of bankruptcy, and they still walk around treating themselves like the world's reserve currency. No assets, no track record, no accountability, but full confidence that everyone else should peg their value to them. That's not power. That's delusion with good posture.
Some people's investment in a relationship is exactly like incorporating in the BVI with $1. The entire capital, $1 US. And every person in that relationship is worth less than 1 cent. Every encounter, structured in the Cayman Islands. Every meeting, every connection, every so-called bond, an offshore shelter.
You show up, you give, you stay, and the only thing happening on their end is tax avoidance. They take, they shelter, they disappear. Zero liability, zero reciprocity, zero on record. But here's what you forgot about currency. It doesn't matter what denomination you think I am. This world cannot change one thing. Currency must circulate. The moment a transaction begins, whatever I give you has already been converted into your currency. You receive the full equivalent, everything you're entitled to. And the exchange rate difference, that gap between your currency and mine, that's not profit you earned. That's the extra I chose to give. Voluntarily, without obligation, because I decided to. Not because you deserved it, not because the market said so, because I said so. And I can stop saying so whenever I want. And have you ever thought about this? When the exchange rate gap appears, I'm the one absorbing the loss. But that gap, that difference, is the only place your value ever showed up. That's it. That's all you were worth in this transaction. The principle never changed. I never changed. The only thing that moved was how much extra I was willing to give. So your value was never really yours. It was on loan from my generosity. And loans can be recalled. But let me be clear about something. A gap in the exchange rate does not mean exploitation exists. Those are two very different things. In a healthy relationship, it was never going to be perfectly equal every single time. Sometimes you give a little more. Sometimes I give a little more. Sometimes you have more strength today. Sometimes it's my turn to carry you. That's not imbalance. That's flow. And a healthy relationship is built on both people knowing that the flow exists, and both people willing to be part of it. This isn't Excel. This isn't, I contributed 51% today. You contributed 49%. That's not how this works. What matters is this. Neither one of us is arbitraging the other. Neither one of us is only taking, only absorbing, only enjoying the gap while the other one bleeds. Because the moment one person becomes permanently fixed at a low rate, never moving, never giving, never carrying, that's when the other person starts to hollow out from the inside. And that is what I'm talking about. The highest level players stopped swinging bats a long time ago. Because the highest level players don't fight inside the rules. They rewrite the market. You came in thinking you knew the exchange rate. You didn't know I'd already changed the currency. And let me be clear about something else. It doesn't matter how high your title is. It doesn't matter how deep your family money goes. It doesn't matter what the world thinks you're worth. If you cannot serve my value, you have no value. To me. This isn't about your resume. This isn't about your net worth. This is about whether I, from the inside, recognize you. And if I don't, you're not an enemy. You're not a threat. You're not even a story. You're just someone I passed on the street. If your presence cannot act on my value, then your presence has no value. This isn't cruelty. This is just how the market works.